I really want to know when the TSA is going to be finished. It doesn't really achieve anything measurable, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video today. I'm old enough, I remember, when your family could come into the airport, sit with you at the gate, and wave to you as you went down the jetway. I'm old enough, I remember, when coming back from Europe on my first trip alone, my family was all there at the gate in the seating area to welcome me home. It still had to go through security. Still had to do all that. Well, still had to double check stuff. And the only difference that we have now is that only ticketed passengers are allowed to go down to the gates and sit in the sitting area, as if bad guys don't buy tickets. Buying a ticket does not mean you're a good person. It just means you bought a ticket, or someone bought a ticket for you, or someone convinced them that you had bought a ticket. But it doesn't keep us safe like you think it does. Let's not pretend that bad guys don't buy tickets. Because what are we worried about? Attacks at the airport? No, we're worried about attacks on planes. But if a bad guy buys a ticket and gets through security, he can still attack you. But who can't come sit with you in the waiting area? Your family that loves you and cares about you. You don't have any company. They drop you off at the curb, or best case scenario, they say goodbye to you right before you go through the security checkpoint, and then you're on your own. Imagine if in Sleepless in Seattle, that kid had been alone when he went to New York City from the get-go. Remember back in 1991 when nobody worried about 8-year-old kids flying alone from Seattle to New York City, getting in a cab and going to the Empire State Building alone to spit off the top and look for their new mom? But what's really changed? Just the illusion of safety. We're not really any safer because bad guys can buy tickets. But it's not like the security keeps them out of the planes. It just keeps people who didn't buy tickets out of the waiting areas. They were never allowed on the planes anyway. It's not like my family also managed to sneak onto the plane with me so they could go with me on my trip. Because they weren't ticketed passengers, they weren't allowed on the plane. So all that's really done is keep people who don't have tickets out of the airport. So what's the purpose of the TSA anymore? All it does is keep people who don't have tickets to get on a plane out of the airport. Well, guess what? People who don't have tickets to fly on a plane don't hang out at airports. Because I can't remember last time, because it's never happened, I heard someone say, hey, we'll go down and hang out at the airport food court. You know, we should go down to the airport and see what they have in the Louis Vuitton store. Or the slots at the Las Vegas airport are looser than they are on the Strip. Let's go gamble there. Nobody does that. The only people who go to the airport and hang out there are ticketed passengers. Regular people don't go hang out there. So all they did was reduce the number of people in the airport to paying customers only. Well, prepaid customers, because it's not like I'm going to buy anything in the airport. I'm buying a ticket on an airplane. And don't get me started about how much of an airplane ticket isn't even for the ticket. It's like 5 or 6 years ago I realized how much of it was taxes and started writing it off of my taxes. And they don't call it that. They call it, 9/11 security fee and transit authority fee and airport usage fee. Those are taxes that are tacked onto your ticket so that you can to inflate the price and pay for all this window dressing. That all it's done is meant that when I take a trip, I go to the airport and I sit in the airport alone. Yippee skippy. So when are we going to get rid of the TSA? Where's the data that shows how many people it has protected? Where is the data that shows what the cost per unit of benefit is? How much money have we paid to be harassed and harangued and delayed in an airport with no demonstrable return on that investment? Because I'll tell you what, I think last year my ticket to Ireland, I had 2 tickets. I flew from Ireland to Scotland on Aer Lingus, but my other ticket, I think, was like $200 was airfare, and the rest of it, $700 or something, was taxes. And all that going to feed the illusion of security. All that money wasted. And I don't even know if it's done any benefit. Because my favorite thing about flying through Heathrow is since England is not in the EU, if you fly into Heathrow from anywhere except Ireland, you go through security. And last time I flew through Heathrow, which was I think back from Berlin, we got off the plane, went through their security as if we hadn't already been through security, and then got back on the same damn airplane. So I had to pay money to get off the plane, go through security, and get back on the same plane. What is the purpose of the TSA? Have we just been doing this for 25 years because we can? Because we'll put up with it? Because we're just used to it now? Because there are people in the hallway outside who have no idea what flying used to be like. They're too young. They weren't even alive. And I was talking to a student a couple hours ago in the hallway, and he's like, "What's 9/11?" So much for never forget. They don't even know about it, so there's nothing for them to remember. Anyway, that's my Friday rant for today. I hope you have a good holiday season if you're traveling. I hope the TSA doesn't harass you too much. Godspeed. Happy trails.